Hi guys, welcome to English with Kevin. Today we will practice our English with this story. If you want to learn English quickly, stay until the end. Tomas and Lucas's Grand Adventure. Chapter 1. The Start of the Journey. Tomas and Lucas had spent months preparing for their grand adventure across the United States. With their van, the Lightning, packed with maps, snacks, and a camera to capture every moment, they set off at dawn. The crisp morning air filled them with excitement as they headed towards their first stop, New York City. The city greeted them with its frenetic energy and the buzz of Times Square, which seemed to vibrate with life every second. On their first day in the Big Apple, they decided to visit Central Park. They marveled at the vast green expanse in the middle of the city and relaxed by the lake, making plans for the coming days. The afternoon took them on a tour of the Metropolitan Museum of Art, where they immersed themselves in art and history, admiring collections ranging from ancient Egypt to contemporary art. As night fell, they headed to the top of the Empire State Building. From there, the city stretched out beneath them like a tapestry of bright lights. Lucas took out his camera and captured the panoramic view, while Tomas reflected on how incredible it was to be there, fulfilling a shared dream. The experience reminded them why they had set out on this journey, to explore and enjoy every moment together. Their last day in New York was a whirlwind of activities. They ventured into Brooklyn, where they walked across the iconic bridge and enjoyed pizza at a famous pizzeria. Although they were exhausted, the city's excitement and the promise of what lay ahead kept their spirits high. By the end of the day, they returned to the Lightning and prepared for their next destination, leaving behind a city they would always hold dear. With the map spread out on the dashboard and a route marked towards Philadelphia, Tomas and Lucas set off at dawn the next day. The drive gave them the chance to chat about their expectations and dreams as the road stretched out before them. The excitement of the unknown and the echoes of the adventures they had already experienced filled the air on their way to the next stage of their odyssey. Chapter 2. Charming Encounters in the Midwest. Philadelphia welcomed them with its rich history and the unmistakable aroma of cheesesteaks. They visited Independence Hall, where American independence was declared. Tomas and Lucas strolled through the historic district, feeling the weight of history in every corner. The city offered a perfect mix of past and present, and they felt fortunate to be part of that legacy. Their next destination was Chicago, where they marveled at the architecture and vibrant urban life. They went up to Willis Tower and delighted in a panoramic view that allowed them to see the city's expanse and Lake Michigan. In the streets of Chicago, they found a local market where they tasted a variety of local foods and enjoyed the live music that enlivened the atmosphere. The journey continued to the Grand Canyon, a destination promising a deep connection with nature. Upon arrival, they ventured into the park and were awed by the enormity of the geological formation. Their first night camping under a starry sky provided a tranquil moment to reflect on the natural beauty around them. They shared stories around the campfire, feeling more connected than ever. During their stay at the Grand Canyon, they decided to take on one of the park's most challenging trails. As they descended into the canyon, they faced the difficulty of the terrain, but the reward of breathtaking views and the sense of achievement made every step worthwhile. The experience taught them about resilience and the importance of persevering together. They left the Grand Canyon with unforgettable memories and headed towards the iconic Route 66. The historic road offered them a glimpse into American history and allowed them to explore small towns and retro diners. In a small town in New Mexico, they stumbled upon a local music festival and joined in the celebration, enjoying homemade tamales and folk music while making new friends. Chapter 3. The Route 66 Adventure. Route 66, known as the Mother Road, offered a unique perspective on rural America. Each stop in the small towns allowed them to meet colorful characters and experience daily life away from the hustle and bustle of big cities. They stopped at a vintage diner where they tried what the owner claimed was the best hamburger in the country. One afternoon, while exploring a roadside museum in an Arizona town, they met a group of fellow travelers who shared similar stories. Together, they exchanged recommendations and laughed over anecdotes. The camaraderie they found made them feel part of a larger community of adventurers and explorers who valued the beauty of the country. As they traveled the route, they came across an antique store that seemed straight out of a movie. Lucas, with an eye for hidden treasures, found an old compass they decided to buy as a memento of their journey. The compass became a symbol of their adventure, a reminder that they were on a path full of surprises and discoveries. Each night, the lightning became their home, and in each town, they found a place to rest and recharge. Although they occasionally faced challenges like extreme weather or mechanical issues, the spirit of adventure always kept them motivated. Route 66 taught them that sometimes the most memorable journeys are found on less traveled paths. Their trip along Route 66 allowed them to experience a variety of adventures and meet interesting people, leaving a lasting impression on their hearts. As they neared the end of the route, they realized that the true magic of their journey lay not only in the places they had visited, but also in the small adventures and encounters they had experienced. Their next destination was the West Coast, and the promise of new experiences kept them excited. Chapter 4. The Golden Coast. Finally, they reached the West Coast, starting their exploration in Los Angeles. The city greeted them with its vibrant nightlife and the promise of sun and surf. They visited Hollywood, strolled along the Walk of Fame, and enjoyed the creative energy that permeated the streets. The evening was completed with dinner at a famous restaurant, where they shared their impressions of the cities they had visited. The next day, they headed to Santa Monica to enjoy the beach. Tomas and Lucas rented bikes and rode along the boardwalk, stopping at the pier to watch street performers and sample famous local ice cream. The feeling of sand beneath their feet and the sea in the distance gave them a fresh perspective on the tranquility and beauty of the California coast. Their journey continued to San Francisco, a city known for its steep hills and the iconic Golden Gate Bridge. They cycled across the bridge, stopping to admire the stunning views of the bay and the city. They explored the unique neighborhoods of San Francisco, from bustling Chinatown to the colorful Mission District, enjoying the city's cultural diversity. In San Francisco, they also took time to explore Golden Gate Park, where they walked through gardens and visited the Conservatory of Flowers. The combination of nature and architecture in the park provided a relaxing break before their next destination. The experience in the city was a perfect blend of adventure and relaxation, preparing them for the final leg of their journey. Their journey took them to Yosemite National Park, a destination that promised full immersion in nature. In Yosemite, they hiked through impressive mountain landscapes, admiring waterfalls and giant sequoias. The serenity of the park provided a respite before heading home, and the beauty of the place made them reflect on the magnitude of their journey. Chapter 5: The Return Home. As the journey neared its end, Tomas and Lucas set off on the final leg of their adventure. As they headed home, they realized that although they had traveled a long way, the true treasure was the time they had spent together. Each experience and encounter had strengthened their friendship and taught them valuable life lessons. As the lightning approached their home, Tomas and Lucas looked back with nostalgia. They had lived unforgettable moments, from the bright lights of New York to the desert landscapes of Nevada. The van was filled with memories and souvenirs, but the most important thing was the deep bond they had developed throughout the trip. Upon arriving home, they shared their stories with family and friends, showing photos and mementos from their adventure. The stories of their encounters on Route 66, their days at the beach, and their hikes in national parks became cherished tales that revived the magic of their trip. The experience reminded them that the world was full of wonders and that there was always something new to discover. Though the journey had ended, Tomas and Lucas knew that this adventure was only the beginning of many more to come. The friendship they had strengthened and the experiences they had shared gave them the courage to continue exploring and seeking new adventures. They promised each other not to let routine trap them and to keep the flame of curiosity and adventure alive. With the horizon full of new possibilities, Tomas and Lucas were ready for their next grand adventure. The experience of traveling across the United States had been a transformative journey, and they knew that no matter where the future led them, they could always count on each other for the next adventure. Chapter 6: The Nevada Desert. After their time in California, Tomas and Lucas decided to explore the Nevada desert. The transition from Yosemite's cool environment to the desert's scorching heat was surprising. They ventured into Las Vegas, where the nightlife and dazzling casinos offered a stark contrast to the serenity of nature. They walked along the Strip, admiring the extravagant hotel and casino architecture and enjoying the shows. During the day, the city seemed almost surreal, with its neon lights and constant bustle. They decided to explore the famous Fremont Street, where street performers and giant screens provided an unparalleled spectacle. The energy of Las Vegas was infectious, and they joined the crowd to enjoy the music and lights. However, they also knew there was more to discover outside the city. They left Las Vegas to explore the surrounding desert. They visited the impressive Hoover Dam, a marvel of engineering that left them in awe. The magnitude of the dam and the history behind its construction gave them a new perspective on human capability to create colossal structures in inhospitable terrain. They took a guided tour that allowed them to learn more about the dam's history and impact on the region. In the desert, they also took a thrilling jeep tour through the sand dunes. The experience of driving through the arid landscape and observing unusual rock formations was exhilarating. The extreme temperatures and vastness of the desert made them appreciate even more the beauty of nature and the adaptability of life in such challenging conditions. As their stay in Nevada came to an end, Tomas and Lucas set their sights on Utah, promising themselves new wonders to explore. The contrast between the bright lights of Las Vegas and the tranquility of the desert reminded them that each stage of their journey had its own charm, and that the diversity of landscapes and experiences was what made their adventure special. Chapter 7. The National Parks of Utah. Utah, known for its majestic national parks, was the next destination on their adventure. The first stop was Zion National Park. Upon arrival, they were amazed by the towering canyons and rock formations. They decided to hike the Angel's Landing Trail, a challenging route that offered spectacular views of the gorge. The climb was strenuous, but the reward upon reaching the summit was indescribable. The panoramic view of the valley and the distant rock formations made them feel like they were on top of the world. While resting at the top, Tomas and Lucas talked about how each challenge during their journey had made them stronger and brought them even closer together. The view allowed them to reflect on the impact that nature and physical effort had on their well-being. After Zion, they headed to Bryce Canyon National Park. The park's unique rock formations, known as hoodoos, left them in awe. At sunset, the colors of the landscape changed dramatically, creating a visual spectacle of reds, oranges, and pinks. They decided to camp near the park and stargazed, appreciating the vastness of the universe in such a remote place. Their next destination was Arches National Park, famous for its natural arches and rock formations. They hiked to the famous Delicate Arch, an iconic landmark of the park. As they explored, they met other hikers and shared stories about their travels, feeling part of a community of adventurers who cherished the country's natural beauty. With their hearts full of gratitude for their experience in Utah, Tomas and Lucas prepared for their next destination. The state had exceeded their expectations with its stunning beauty and challenging adventures. They were excited for what was to come next on their journey. Chapter 8. The Southern Route and Music in Nashville. Leaving behind the arid landscapes of Utah, Tomas and Lucas headed south, crossing the deserts of New Mexico and Texas. Upon arriving in Nashville, Tennessee, they immersed themselves in the heart of country music. The city was filled with bars and clubs where live music resonated at every corner. They went to Broadway, the famous street for musicians, and enjoyed live performances while savoring Southern cuisine. During their stay in Nashville, they visited the Country Music Hall of Fame. There, they learned about the history of country music and its legends. The exhibits provided them with a deep understanding of the genre's evolution and its impact on American culture. The visit allowed them to appreciate the significance of music in many people's lives and how it had been an integral part of their own adventure. They also took the opportunity to explore the city's vibrant food scene. They tried typical dishes like fried chicken and peach cobbler, discovering new and delicious flavors. At a small local restaurant, they met a chef who told them about Nashville's culinary history and recommended hidden spots to try more local delicacies. A visit to Graceland, Elvis Presley's home in Memphis, was another highlight of their trip. They toured the mansion and learned about the life and career of the king of rock and roll. The experience gave them insight into how music and fame can influence a person's life and popular culture. As they left, they felt inspired by Elvis's legacy and passion for music. With country music in their hearts and their souls full of new experiences, Tomas and Lucas prepared for the next leg of their journey. Their visit to Nashville had offered a rich immersion into Southern musical culture, and they were ready to continue exploring the country. Chapter 9. History in Washington, D.C. From Nashville, Tomas and Lucas headed to Washington, D.C., the capital of the United States. The city greeted them with its impressive architecture and historical monuments. They began their visit at the National Mall, where they marveled at the Lincoln Memorial and the Washington Monument. The grandeur of these national icons provided them with a perspective on the country's history and core values. At the Smithsonian National Museum of American History, they explored exhibits ranging from the history of independence to more recent events. The section dedicated to civil rights made them reflect on the challenges and triumphs in the fight for equality. The depth of history they uncovered gave them a greater appreciation for the nation's evolution. The Capitol was another highlight of their itinerary. They participated in a guided tour that offered an inside look at the legislative process and the importance of politics in shaping society. The experience helped them better understand how government decisions impact everyday life and the functioning of the country. As they explored museums and monuments, they also enjoyed the city's vibrant cultural scene. They visited cafes and bookstores, finding cozy spots to relax and reflect on their journey. The urban life of Washington, D.C. offered a perfect blend of history and modernity, providing a balance between exploration and rest. As their time in the capital came to an end, Tomas and Lucas felt enriched by the educational and cultural experience. The city had provided a deep dive into American history and politics, and they were ready to continue their adventure towards the final destination of their trip. Chapter 10. The End in Boston and Reflection. The final destination of their adventure was Boston, a city filled with history and charm. Upon arrival, they explored the Freedom Trail, a route that took them through key historical sites of the American Revolution. Walking the streets of Boston allowed them to experience living history and feel connected to the events that had shaped the nation. They visited the Boston Tea Party Ships and Museum, where they participated in an interactive recreation of the famous event. The experience provided them with an immersive view of history and allowed them to better understand the context of American independence. The recreation allowed them to feel the excitement and significance of that historic moment. Tomas and Lucas also explored Quincy Market, where they enjoyed local food and bought souvenirs to take home. They strolled through the streets of Boston, admiring colonial architecture and enjoying the city's welcoming atmosphere. Every corner seemed to tell a story, and they took the time to appreciate the details that had gone unnoticed in other parts of their journey. As their adventure neared its end, they reflected on everything they had experienced. From the bright lights of New York to the desert landscapes of Nevada, each experience had contributed to a rich and varied story. They realized that the true value of the trip lay not only in the places they had visited, but also in the shared memories and the strengthening of their friendship. Returning home with a deep sense of gratitude for their experiences and the knowledge that their adventure had been more than they had imagined. With hearts full of memories and spirits renewed, they bid farewell to their journey with the promise that, although this chapter had ended, new adventures awaited on the horizon.